Now, both the prosecution and defense delivering opening statements today, beginning the trial process that's expected to be a lengthy one.
Continue our team coverage now. Skylar Eagle live right outside Schoharie in the courtroom there. Latest on the trial. Skylar, did anything stand out to you that you heard in court?
Well, John and Lydia, we heard opening statements this morning, and then the afternoon ended with a request for a mistrial from the defense. But we'll start first with opening statements, both sides focusing on who should be responsible for the Schoharie limo crash that happened in 2018. The prosecution is arguing that Nauman Hussain showed a pattern of disregard for the rules and regulations when it came to operating a limousine company, including how to take care of those vehicles, how to take care of the customers and their businesses. But the defense, led by defense attorney Lee Kinlan, argued that Hussain was misled by the auto repair company to believe that the limo he put in service was safe to use for those passengers. Special District Attorney Fred Wrench told the court Hussain ignored multiple rules relating to owning a commercial vehicle, and Hussain in multiple instances conducted business under different names, including his father's, Shahid Hussain. Leading up to the crash, Wrench says Hussain was in consistent contact with Chad Smith, a roadside inspector with the state DOT, who first saw the limousine at a Mavis Discount Tire in Saratoga and flagged different issues, including the limo capacity. Wrench says the limo was brought to Mavis multiple times for inspections and taken out of service, and during one of those times, Mavis informed Hussain the entire brake system needed to be replaced. Wrench also explained Mavis was not eligible to inspect commercial vehicles on behalf of the DOT, which is required in order to operate a limousine. Just 32 days before the crash, Wrench says Smith arranged for another inspection after it was taken out of service for several violations just 2 weeks earlier, and says Hussain consciously chose not to make repairs.
Nauman Hussain chose to operate a business, a limousine business, that subjected him to state and federal regulation. And his choice not to follow those regulations that was designed to evade, avoid, and ignore those regulations. The evidence will show that Mr. Hussain's choices led directly to and caused the deaths of those 20 people on October 6, 2018.
Hussain's defense attorney, Lee Kinlan, argued the responsibility of this crash does not lie solely with Hussain. He says Hussain was given no guidance from his father on how to operate the business and relied on Mavis to fix the brakes on the limousine, and he was told those repairs were made. He was never informed Mavis was not qualified to inspect the limo. He says the reason the limo was taken out of service 32 days before the crash was not because of a failing brake system, but because of 3 other issues with the child safety lock, one of the emergency exits, and a decal meant to indicate the limo was modified was missing.
The brakes fixed. Mavis told Nauman Hussain that work had been done the way Mavis told them it had been done. Those 20 people would still be alive. The accident was caused by the fraud and failure of Mavis to fix the brakes, and then the incompetence of the state of New York.
And after those opening statements, we also heard from the first 6 witnesses in this trial. One of those witnesses, Lawrence Massera, was the original owner of that 2001 Ford Excursion. He was the one that originally modified it into a stretch limousine. His testimony causing defense attorney Lee Kinlan to request a mistrial from Judge Peter Lynch after he found out that he was not informed of previous federal charges. Massera had pled guilty to theft of government property back in 2015. That fact was not disclosed to Kinlan by District Attorney Susan Mallory. His request for a mistrial and to strike that testimony from the record was denied by Judge Peter Lynch shortly before they ended for the day, around 4 o'clock. We'll have more on the witness testimony coming up tomorrow, including from Chad Smith, who was that DOT employee that worked closely with Hussain shortly before the crash. We'll have it all on air and online. For now, live in Schoharie, Skylar Eagle, News 10, ABC.